Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Erickson TV, courtesy with Lauren. Hey Lauren.
Hey everybody.
Hey Lauren, we're going to continue on with our Back to Summer School series.
Right.
However, this is a little bit different because it's a very topical event.
That's right.
Lots of news and lots of huge, intense discussions going on back in Washington, D.C. about this debt ceiling deadline by August 2nd, which is next Tuesday.
Right.
So what are some of the thoughts that you have about it?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. I wanted to talk about, the first thing I wanted to talk about is we recently had a great disaster that never happened. It's the biggest non-disaster since Y2K. We had Carmageddon in Los Angeles.
Oh, right.
I don't know if you remember about Carmageddon.
Interstate 405.
Yeah, exactly. There was a 10-mile stretch of freeway in Los Angeles that was going to get shut down for repairs, and the idea was that the whole city was going to be completely jammed up. No one was going to be able to get anywhere. Mm-hmm. Of course, what happened is people left the city. So as a result, for those who ignored all of the hype about Carmageddon and just hung out in Los Angeles, they had the easiest time commuting through Los Angeles since ever, really. It was. If you look at pictures of the streets in Los Angeles, they're almost totally clear. Just a few cars driving around. So Carmageddon, the great disaster. Nothing happened.
Just like Y2K.
Just like Y2K.
And it probably is. It may or may not happen. We don't know yet. But when the Los Boy Viaduct eventually gets replaced, that'll have a similar, I think, impact.
Yeah,
perhaps.
same thing. Yes, and right at the same time as Carmageddon was happening, something else happened. I don't know if people remember this, but for months and months and months, we've been hearing on the news. Oh gosh, Greece might default on its debt.
Right.
What's going to happen if Greece defaults on its debt? The sky is going to fall.
Right.
Greece might default on its debt. You probably didn't even hear it in the news. Greece defaulted on its debt.
Right.
It didn't default on all its debt. It only defaulted on a part of its debt. But what you heard in the news is Greece got a bailout. Now that's true. Greece did get a bailout, but they also defaulted. What was the result of the default? Some banks lost some money.
Interesting. Well,
that was it. After all that stress and all that prognostication about all the horrible things were going to happen if Greece was to default on its debt, it was going to be something really terrible for a government to default on its debt.
Right.
It defaulted.
Well, it's interesting because of this August 2nd deadline that's coming up, and it's been. I mean, both President Obama and Speaker Boehner both had back-to-back press conferences, like last Monday night, I think it was. Or actually it was Sunday night. But the point is that they keep talking about August 2nd.
Right.
And I've read recently that we actually have enough money coming in that we could, even if they can't come up with a deal, I think I've heard two different scenarios. They could pay their bills to August 15th.
Right.
And somebody in the House, I think, said they think they can pay it all the way through August.
Well, the point is they have no idea.
Right.
I mean, the August 2nd deadline was simply an arbitrary date. And then, I don't know, I noticed this. Recently, we had another arbitrary date. They said, if we can't get a deal together by Sunday, the Asian markets are going to collapse. The world stock markets are going to... Okay, no deal. The stock markets, they went down about something percent.
Right.
0.4, 0.5, 0.6%. The sky is falling.
Right.
I mean, nothing has happened. The sky's still there. The stock market, but if you read the news media, they will say, "Oh, the stock market's been down for 3 straight days."
Yeah, probably more about more about earnings disappointment or something like that.
Or people, unfortunately, what's happening though is, to some extent, it's going down because if you get enough people to believe the news media that something terrible is going to happen, they'll sell their stock funds, and stocks will go down, and they'll be the losers.
Right.
I mean, nobody else is concerned about this stuff because, first of all, even if we didn't raise the debt ceiling, we wouldn't default.
Right.
That isn't the issue.
Right.
That's all political posturing. Second, even if we did default, a lot of people don't know this, we defaulted on some of our debt in 1979.
Right. And we've also had, I think, in the last 30 years, something like 38 temporary extensions.
Oh, right.
Of
exactly.
That. So, I mean, to me, that's a likely thing that's going to happen is they'll probably put in a short-term extension.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to say was, the markets have factored in all this information, all these news conferences.
Right.
It has been a little bit down this week, but think about 3.5 weeks ago, the market was something like 6% lower than it is today.
Right.
So there's all kinds of things that move the market, and I think all the knowable information is built into the pricing right now as we speak. So.
Yep. And what most of the markets seem to be thinking is that the debt the debt ceiling debate is a lot like the Greek debt default. It's a lot like Carmageddon. It's a big disaster that is not much to worry about.
And perhaps near the end of the summer, we'll be on to the next issue.
On to the next issue. That's right. On to the next crisis. On to the next Y2K. The next debt apocalypse, the next Carmageddon.
All right. Well, at least we can say that something got solved. The NFL is going to be back in business.
There we go.
All right. Well, thank you, Lauren, and we'll see you next time on our Back to Summer School special. Take care.
Yeah, see you
Bye
next
now.
time.